Hello there. Now, there's a lot of talk out there about the real possibility of a civil war kicking off in the UK or maybe some other developed Western nation. And if that did occur, it would in all likelihood spread fast, like wildfire. And as I take you through some of the scenarios, all I can see is a set of governments taking the West down that exact route. But how would one be triggered? Well, a few examples here and some concepts, and this isn't by no means exhaustive. How about the rise of new factions along religious or ethnic lines that can destabilize a country? The loss of dominance of the main religion or ethnicity as it maneuvers to regain its lost position can also egg it on. Can you think of any Western country that is now in that position? Any Western country where its politicians are fully backing huge ethnic changes within their own countries, for example? And now look at what this Labour government and its Chancellor is doing to the economy, which is going to increase, not decrease, poverty and opportunity. Yet another potential spark. And deepening those social divisions based on religion and ethnicity and not enforcing integration does it too. Then there's the politicians who exploit resentment and grievances in society to mobilize support for their own agendas. Think Hamas supporting MPs. And as that happens, opposing politicians react by doing the same, but in the opposite direction. Think Jenrick and Tenkoni. How about extremist organizations that believe they are justified in using violence and the only ones justified in using violence? Think of all those eco-warriors and the like. And the one that would probably spark it all could be some huge demonstration or other event that unexpectedly explodes into violence. And right now, as far as I can see, just about all of the above is escalating daily, with government pouring fuel on the fire. What do you reckon, Richard?
Thank you, Jeff. Well, it's not just our government pouring fuel on the fire. It seems to be France's government with Emmanuel Macron and some of the things he said. If you can put one, I've got one or two things here, Jeff, if you can put them up on the screen.
Which one?
First one? Anyone. I'll go for anyone. It doesn't matter. Because, ladies and gentlemen, you're about to witness something. Look at them. Here we go. Aggressive action. Keir Starmer unveils groundbreaking one in, one out deal to send small boats, blah, 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 send them all back or whatever. Really groundbreaking. So apparently this one in, one out is going to look a lot more like 17 in, one out. What a fantastic deal. That complete muppet of a prime minister has just once again come up with a fantastic idea that would actually increase immigration. Well done. Coming from the man, again, who is, as I keep saying, who has always campaigned for open borders. And we were supposed to trust him. We've got another screenshot there, please, Jeff. Have you got another one there?
Yeah, bear with me. I'll just get that one out. And that one there.
There we go. Look at them. They can't keep their hands off each other. Yes, again, I can't remember which one this is from, but look at them. My goodness, get a room, chaps, for goodness sake. Oh, no, there might be some Ukrainians. Anyway, sorry, I don't know why I said that. But anyhow, yes, I mean, again, groundbreaking. Please give me strength. And the next one, Jeff, please, if you could. The last one.
Right.
This is how the media, I'm showing you this because this is how the media is reporting this. They want you to believe that this is groundbreaking. It's all going to be okay. There you go. What are they doing? Look at that. It's like they can't get close enough. It's like, come on. Macron blames Brexit for, there we go. Macron blames Brexit for migration crisis. The Channel deal unravels. Oh, for goodness sake. Please. Honestly, Brexit. Is that the best you can come up with? We know your intentions, Mr. Macron. We know. We've known from the start. You just want us to bend over and come back into the EU with the rest of you Europhiles. And so does Keir Starmer. Don't forget, it wasn't so long ago Keir Starmer was looking to campaign to rejoin. These are the things that I believe it's more pressure in the pressure cooker continuously, but the lid can't hold on forever. That's what I'm very worried about, is that they keep doing these ridiculous things, and the press keep framing it this way. Something's could give, and I hate to say it, because if you want a civil war, you must be completely stupid, because it's far worse than you could ever imagine. It's not going to be a bit of an argy-bargy. No. This is, Jeff.
Yeah. One of the things that sort of worries me is that the politicians and the press and everybody has been browbeating the population of the UK and other populations with accusations of racism and being told they must make their own lives worse by paying more and more tax to allow others to live here, many of whom get preferential treatment the moment they arrive. And that just doesn't help. And that doesn't even have to be a real thing. It just has to be a general perception that that's what's going on. This two-tier thing that everyone's left out of, the majority are left out of, and a few people are benefiting from. That doesn't help at all. All this just leaving the boats to run across, and they are both just leaving the boats to run across. They have no intention of stopping it. If Starmer thought he could get away with it, he would lay ferries on. He would lay ferries on from all those beaches and just say, come one and all. He would be doing it. And you and I would be out building houses night and day as they brought them in. And that's what he wants. And in fact, he wouldn't stop there. He'd probably send liners out to Africa and trawl around the coast of Africa, bringing millions back as well. That's the sort of person he is. That's what he believes in. Him and Lord Hermer and all the rest of them. That's what they believe in. So, it's not going to get any better.
Still worrying. I've been watching last night. I thought I'd do a bit of a dedicated sort of viewing of podcasts out there, and I think it came about 4 or 5 last night that were talking about civil war, and I was like, this isn't normal. This isn't right. Why are people talking about it so much? And we know why, but it's coming to it. Something horrible is going to be coming. You know, here we are trying to calm people down and say, don't do it. But at the same time, people have got to vent somehow. And that's the purpose of videos like this, ladies and gentlemen, so we can calm ourselves down. Even though right now I feel like I'm about to explode.
Yeah. Now, here's one from IID. He says, Northern Ireland is a bit warm at the moment. Now, I'm assuming that's a reference to a certain bonfire that's going to be lit.
It's not going to be
very shortly.
No, I don't think it's going to be. I think they pulled it down. I'm not sure, but I think the council have actually.
Can you look at that? Can you Google that?
Yeah, I'm pretty much certain of it. I might be wrong.
I mean, the whole idea was that they've brought attention to it, haven't they? It's worked in bringing attention to their grievances as such.
Yes.
But everybody's up in arms about unidentified people in a rubber boat. How many bonfires have had Maggie Thatcher put on it? You know, effigies of her, effigies of other right-wing politicians. How many times has this happened? I mean, the original one was, of course, Guy Fawkes, and no one even worries about that, do they? That's not.
Hang on, there's been a bit. Hang on, I just saw from the London Evening Standard. The police will now not assist in removal of contentious bonfire in Belfast.
Oh, right.
So, well. Maybe they know what might happen. That was in the London Evening Standard 40 minutes ago in the BBC. Police will not assist in removal of South Belfast bonfire. So that it does look like that may be going ahead.
Yeah. Well, you can't let them burn effigies of say Nigel Farage and then stop this. You can't have not one but the other. You know, there's that sort of thing. I mean. Then we have the blimps, don't we? The Trump blimp and all that sort of thing. So, it's all a bit. Because what's really gripping me is we're now in a position where anyone trying to maintain any form of Britishness is painting a large target on their own back. And that's unsustainable by any measure. And this government is failing across the board on this. And when I say this government, I mean this uniparty establishment government that we have. Don't listen to the Tories. This was all part of their game as well. All that happened was it was a relay race. And now the baton's been handed on to Labour to continue the destruction of this country. So apart from a very few people, the most of the Tories are right behind it. They would sign up to it tomorrow to more and more, be in no doubt.
Yes.
Anyway, that's me.
I'll just put another image up there, Jeff, so you can see the image of this this contentious
yes, here we go. This one. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, that is so disgusting, isn't it? I mean, it's, well,
awful,
I say it's
awful.
distasteful.
Yes,
it's distasteful.
Awful.
Yeah. Distasteful, but it draws attention. It draws attention to the grievances, as I said.
Absolutely.
But if that was a boat full of, I don't know, Reform UK MP effigies, who would be moaning then?
Oh my goodness, they'd all be there throwing petrol on it, or the
exactly. And that's my point.
You'd have Sadiq Khan, you'd have Keir Starmer, and all and ilk. Oh my goodness! In fact, why? I don't even think they'd bother holding on an effigy. I think they'd actually find the real people.
Oh, don't say things like that.
That's what I think they would do. It's not something I suggested they do.
Yeah. No, I know.
Ah.
Yeah, but there you go. So yes. What's this one? In Poland, the men guard the border and patrol the streets. Yeah, that's absolutely right. And it's actually quite funny because there was even a video on X of a German police car trying to bypass the border by going up some little lane in their car to drop illegals off and get them out of Germany and into Poland. And suddenly there was a whole group of Polish guys there, and that they had to turn around and go back. So there you go. That's what people really do feel strongly about this, and it's getting to that stage. So
yes, it is.
Yeah. And as John Power says, I think civil war will come. We don't seem to have a choice. It's that way, or we lay down and take it. That's exactly what the government wants us to do. Yes. Do as you're told. We've done the far right in. We'll do you in again. And next time it'll be worse. Just do as you're told. Lay down. Pay your taxes while we open the borders. That's where it's coming from. I'm afraid.
And while we let certain criminals out of prison to make room for you lot. Us lot.
Oh yes, for us lot. Yes, us lot will end up in jail. Yeah. So yeah, Professor David Betts, who's the Professor of War in the Modern World in the Department of War Studies, King's College London, could well be right in his assessment that we are probably already past the tipping point. Now, he has been on several YouTube channels talking about this very thing, and I'll put you up one statement that he did make. Let me find it here. I personally am convinced of the inevitability of outright, active and wide-scale civil war in North America and Western Europe. The best that can be hoped for, I think, is to diminish the period of horror. Some readers may be more optimistic. None, though, can objectively deny that there are strong and well-understood indicators showing that our current societal arrangements are failing at an accelerating rate. And he wrote that in The Future of War is Civil War. So Dr. Betts, who's very well respected in this field, is of the opinion that it's coming. And that is really quite worrying. And I picked up... now, is it? I've got to read this probably. Dominic Cadler, I think his name is. He's got a Substack, Thinking the Unthinkable, Policing Civil War and Herbicide, as he calls it. And there is a picture of the RUC in Northern Ireland. And he says in Ulster, there were only two sides to police. And that was the Catholic side, the Protestant side, whichever way you want to look at it. Now, thanks to identity politics, there are dozens. and they're all fighting for their own little corner. We've imported so much of this, not just from around the world, but from internal social services thinking. Oh, that group over there must have special attention. That group over there must have other special attention. That group over there who doesn't like that group having special attention must be downtrodden. And this is how it works. And we've now got such a fractured society. And he wrote that quote, he put in his article, and he said, "Don't worry, I haven't gone bonkers, honestly. And yes, this stuff would be easier to stomach if David Betts wore a tinfoil hat and ran a YouTube channel about prepping. Except he doesn't. He's very, very credible. So coming out with stuff like this is, from eminent people, it should be very, very worrying. But I don't see our politicians going, whoa, let's have a look at this seriously. I just think they're either stupid, they don't care, or it's what they want.
It's what they want. It has to be. I can't see any other way of looking at this, to be honest with you. Why they want it is what I want to know. That's the big question.
Yeah, and as Andy NJW says, it's not a deal, it's a French victory. Now,
Yes.
one of the things that they talk about is, these deals and all the rest of it. One of the things that people talk about is this thing called soft power. Yeah. And the king has lots of soft power, and the UK has lots of soft power. You don't have soft power when you don't have a hard, big military machine of hard power behind it. It just becomes, every time, like this time, a soft surrender. That's what it is. Be in no doubt. Soft power, UK soft power, is now UK soft surrender. That's it. And that's what's happening all the time. You only have to look from Chagos to Gibraltar to the fishing to going back under the ECJ for our food and all the rest of it. It's soft surrender, ladies and gentlemen. Soft surrender. Get that in. Use it. Yeah. Someone's saying it's unbelievable, Jeff. Well, hopefully it is unbelievable. But even if it's unbelievable, will it happen? Will it actually happen? And that's...
I think it's very... Yeah. Unfortunately, I think it's very believable. It's just that... How did it take so long for this country? Because people are waking up. They're seeing what's going on. If people had woken up, say, about 20, 30 years ago, we wouldn't have been here. If people had listened to a certain Mr. Robinson, maybe a few years ago, maybe we wouldn't be in this situation, and things could have been dealt with a lot quicker, without things potentially going the way that they seem to be going.
Yeah. Thanks very much, John Davis, or John Davies. Get it back up. Jury nullification. Juries are more powerful than judges. They've been trying to get rid of our power for ages. Yeah, this is a reference to the way that they're trying to cut back on the already just 1% of jury trials and cut them back even further on the basis that that you people out there, you great unwashed, going into a jury, you don't know the law, you're too thick to understand a complex case, so therefore we're just going to keep you out of the way, and the very, very clever barristers will argue amongst themselves instead of in front of a very, very clever judge. They will use the letter of the law, not common sense, not real justice, just the letter of the law to decide guilt and innocence. And then we have to follow every single stupid law that the government comes out with, written mostly, of course, by lawyers. So, that is very dangerous way we're going. And Lord Hermer, as you may have heard, is now the arbiter of what laws can be passed. Yep, he'll put the block on anything that might have a sniff of something about it that he doesn't like. Bang, it's gone. He'll use any excuse because he interprets the law. See, the lawyers interpret the law. Parliament makes the law, but then along comes barristers and judges and they say, no, Parliament didn't mean that. We've interpreted it to mean they meant that. And then they apply that reinterpreted law. That's how this stupid system works. That's why the ECHR is extremely powerful now in our country. Oh, Peter Lilly, former Tory MP, has come out with a report on the ECHR, which I'm trying to read at the moment, showing how leaving it is not as massively a big problem as we think. And Churchill didn't like it much either. So, and that's going back from old reports. And I'll try and bring you something on that over the next couple of days. But I only just found out about that today from Brexit Facts for You. I think it was that brought it up. Anyway, yeah. So that's just a bit of a sidetrack.
But I mean, is it any wonder though that we are potentially coming to a very dangerous crossroads if we haven't already gone down the crossroads, unfortunately, the wrong way? Is it any wonder that when we've been told that we've got a fantastic deal, where, first of all, the initial framing of it is 1 in, 1 out, when the truth of it is, as I said, is from reports, is that it's 17 in, 1 out.
Yeah.
By being told that this is a good deal, it's almost like they're trying to wind us up. You know, we're not stupid. We're going. There are a lot of people who have been digging around through the nuts and bolts of and the insides of this so-called deal, and it was obvious that these things were going to come to light. But the other obvious, I mean, what are they trying to do? Really, genuinely, Jeff, it's only going to take a few more things like this, and people. I mean, are they going to stop paying their taxes, for instance? Not that I'm suggesting people do that, but that's the kind of thing that happens. And I was looking more into what Dr. David Betts had said about the way that warfare could unfold in this country, and it would be urban against rural. That would be one of the big things. And obviously, it's the cities and the large towns containing large populations of people from other demographics who we'll call them the native Brits, are not indigenous Brits, are not happy with. So one of the things that could happen is food supplies will be stopped, and the farmers, I mean, they've already peed the farmers off. They're going to be quite happy to jump in, I'm sure, into such a situation, one would assume. Awful. And then you've got like the cutting of water supplies to these major cities. That could happen very quickly, or under power. And then barricading them. And literally, you're talking about almost like siege warfare. And you think, how could that happen in 21st century Britain? I mean, this is medieval stuff, but there's a few things about this scenario that seem quite medieval as well.
But as Tommy Noble says, tolerance doesn't come unconditionally, and this is what we're being told. You must be tolerant of everything, and the only thing that won't be tolerated is you being intolerant of everything else that you find intolerable. And that's what we're being told, isn't it? You have to be tolerant. It's almost like they think that we in Britain are better than other people because we are more tolerant. Isn't that racist?
Well, look, the word racist doesn't mean anything to me anymore. I don't care. I think most people in this country don't care. If somebody calls you a racist, just laugh it off. Genuinely, laugh it off. I can't say it's a badge of honor to be called it, but you know where I'm coming from, because at the end of the day, you've got the term has been so devalued by the left and the liberals, the liberal left, I should say. That it has become utterly meaningless. And thank you to blank 9831 super chat. Now I'll gently try and read this out. Obviously, we have certain constraints. Something king from a certain demographic. Sorry, I could say a king who's representing a certain demographic, or appears to be, playing call to prayer in the palace. Yes, that did happen. And the specific religion of this demographic, he says here, has taken your capital. What are you waiting for? I don't know. I think supper, I'm thinking. That's what I'm waiting for, to be honest with you, Jeff. But in terms of what are we waiting for, the thing is, there's a lot of people who are very angry and would like to see things kick off, I'm afraid to say. There are a lot of people who feel that way. What I will say to that is, you don't know what you're talking about, and you do probably know to a certain extent. You probably have a good idea of what might be coming, but not the full extent of it. No. You have to remember that, we'll say, a certain demographic, the preferred demographic, are incredibly well armed, probably right now. incredibly well armed. The indigenous population of this country may outnumber, but they will be incredibly well armed and prepared to do things that you and I may not be prepared to do. That's
At
all
first.
I'm saying. Yeah, well, it's horrible even thinking about this, but we have to discuss and we have to be very careful how we discuss it. And I hope you appreciate that, ladies and gentlemen. There's much more we would like to say.
Yeah. Today is the day, treasure hunters. If it was not for Starmer's imported votes, Labour would never be in power again. I fear that after the next 4 years, we will be politically finished. Actually, I think you'll find that at the moment, the strain is setting in between those imported votes and Labour. Labour are doing all they can to garner those votes, to keep those votes, those imported votes. They've relied on them. In fact, they've relied on, would you believe, they've actually relied on both the Palestine type vote and the Jewish vote as well, because most Jews used to, or maybe still do, vote Labour. So because they have this sort of vision of a more socialist world anyway.
That's come to an end. There's no Jews voting Labour now.
That's now coming to an end.
Yeah,
and they're not going to support Labour.
Well, I was just reading in the Telegraph today that you've got Iranians, the Iranian government. Sorry, not Iranians. Iranian government trying to have Jews kidnapped and killed in this country. Awful. So another super here from blank 9831. I'm American. I just love you guys so much. Thank you. Genuinely, thank you. So much. Fought with you in Helmand province. I'm assuming in Afghanistan. Oh, absolutely. Jeff, I apologize for that second comment. No apology required, sir.
No.
Look, you're absolutely not. Goodness me.
Yeah, we can work around things like that.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Well, it's a good one. Starmer is a double crosser like Burgess. He was one of the 60s spies or 50s spies. Yeah, that handed over everything to the Russians. There was a lot more of them, I'm sure, not just those. I reckon. And don't tell me that the civil service isn't absolutely riven with them at the moment, handing over either to China, Russia, or Iran, or those types of places.
Yeah, Jeff, I'm sorry, I'm not going to put this on the screen. What I've got here is it's in the Daily Mail right now, that rag. It is pretty bad. It's a distressing video of sobbing and bloodied female police officer shown after she was attacked by Manchester airport suspects. Allegedly attacked, I don't have to add. Is shown to court. It's been shown to the court, and I'm just looking at it now. Oh my days, she is totally she's not in a good way, bless her. I
will just add here. In what civilized world was she there?
Yeah. I mean, it would be nice if we had.
She was brave. Let's get it this way. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
He stood up, didn't she? She took it. She went in, but she wasn't big enough and strong enough.
Yeah, we need men. We need the big men again. What's wrong with being a bit? Look, and this isn't sexist at all, because we got at the end of the day, she bloody well stood her ground. Fair play to it, and nothing but utter respect.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But it would be nice to see some big blokes coming back into it.
Yeah.
I remember growing up as a young lad in Rumney. Appeared in Rumney in the South Wales valleys, and the police officer. There was only a few of them, but the one. He'd give you a good clip around the ear hole, and and he'd go and see your parents as well and say, "Oi, young Richard was misbehaving." I'm afraid to say.
And you get it twice, don't you?
So then you get a clip again. Back then you respect the beat, and he was a big lump. He was 6 foot, whatever, 6'3", 6'4".
They had to be over 6 foot tall back then.
Yeah.
Every copper had to be over 6 foot tall, and then you had the hat as well. Made them look very big and imposing. Yeah. But then they cut it back because of inclusivity. so that anyone of any height could join, even me. Even Sadiq Khan could join.
Yeah.
Someone put up earlier, how can it be civil war if it's foreigners? Well, the trouble is that it will be, because how many of the left woke are out there who totally and utterly despise this country and would support them against us?
Yeah.
That's what makes it a
yeah,
civil war.
yeah, but I mean, look, your average vegan, not vegan. I'm picking on vegans again. Right? Sorry, I'm not picking. I was vegan once. It made me ill. Maybe that's why I'm so angry at the whole bloody thing. But that lot who support on the left, there's more testosterone in this pen than there is in that lot. To be able to get into a so that I can't see them being part of it. To be honest with you.
Yeah.
No, but anyway,
Andy,
as for foreigners, I mean, the thing is, a lot of these people are born and bred here. Most of the things that go on here in this country are by people who are second generation or radicalized. It's
yeah,
not
that's true.
necessarily by people who have come from abroad. There's much more to this.
Yeah, Andy NJW says, will the military join with Starmer or the people in the event of an uprising? Now, the big thing about the military in the UK is they belong to the monarch, not the government. Yeah, they belong to the monarch. They are the monarch's troops and armed forces. And it's very important that people understand that. This is part of the reason, probably the reason, why you have so many princes and cousins of princes and all the rest of it who are colonels in regiments, so that the royal family can take over the entire military. Yeah, get the idea? And the whole idea was that it could mobilize it against a government that was being nasty to its own people.
Well, that's
The
worked
trouble
out well,
is, if
isn't it?
the king and the government are on the same hymn sheet,
Yeah.
then where are we?
Well, it's not just on the same hymn sheet. Oh my goodness! I mean, our king. You covered this earlier in the video, which I highly recommend after you finish watching this that you watch, ladies and gentlemen. Jeff did an excellent video earlier on about our Majesty.
Oh, the one I did this morning,
Yes,
or this afternoon, earlier. Yeah.
afternoon, yeah.
Oh, and I just have to read these first. Yeah, John Davis, thank you very much for your contribution. Coudenhove Callaghan plan, anyone? Starmer commits treason every day by ideological illegal immigrants being used to destroy us by civil war and gerrymandering, postal vote rigging. Yeah, it's that bit plus more or whatever.
Yes.
Now the Coudenhove Callaghan plan is goes back a long time, and it predates the EU and the EC and all that sort of thing, and it's about just trying to overthrow the rest of us with imports, as it were. And there is a Coudenhove Callaghan prize handed out by the EU. Is it every year or every 2 years? Can't remember. And it's handed out to the person who has advanced the policies of the EU to make it more powerful and bigger and more. You get the idea. So yeah. And thank you very much, John Muldoon, for your super sticker. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Absolutely.
Yeah. So
yeah, I just reading. There's just so many people here are angry at the king. I don't know anybody who's happy with King Charles at the moment. I mean, we're talking about people who are monarchists, and have been for generations, and royalists, but no longer. I mean, I personally, I've got my own views on the royal family and how they've been acting for a very, very, very long time, predating King Charles. But I can see the way the Queen handled things was slightly different. At least there was some veneer of respectability and somebody you could trust, even if it was a pile of rubbish. And she knighted people who were very, very suspect. And people say, stop having a go at the Queen. You know, she was a wonderful woman. And I get that. I do get it. The thing is, it's like, I'm sorry, but when you've got people like Jimmy Savile in the Inner Sanctum, people say, oh, she wouldn't have known. Of course she knew. She knew everything. She was one of the most well-informed people in this country. And the monarch usually is.
Yeah. Hazard Doom says, have you ever been told that telling an angry person to calm down is dumb? It is dumb. Yes. When I've been angry, someone says,
calm down.
Calm down. And what happens? Steam out there, red face explodes. Yeah. Because don't tell me to calm down. And that's what they're basically sort of saying. Either you'll calm down or we'll force you to be calm by sending the police that round and the heavy mob and all the rest of it. Yeah.
Jeff and I tell each other to calm down probably about 40 times a day. It's quite amusing.
It is. Yeah. Yes. Someone says civil war if you don't deport. Well, a lot of people are saying that, and remigration is becoming a big topic, especially amongst UKIP and even in the Tory party, you know, in certain quarters.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem to be happening in Reform UK, though, does it?
Yeah, exactly. You know, in fact, Farage has just come out recently and said that he is more to the left and that the average person in the general public is now far more right-wing in their views regarding immigration than he is. Oh, okay. So everyone's voting for somebody that doesn't represent them. Okay.
Right. We are taking a big bonking here from Commando Colonel. Videos like this will just help rile people up and start it. Stop with the rage bait.
No.
All we're doing is pointing out what is already happening. It's already happening. You can't put the genie back in the bottle. It's
no, videos like this serve a very different purpose, actually, is that people get to express their feelings. Instead of bottling it up and just watching curtain twitching, worried about what's going on outside, people get the opportunity to say what they think in the comments. I know it's not much, it's not a great expression, but it's better than nothing. And when they hear people like Jeff and myself speaking our minds on this matter, echoing their very own thoughts, it allows them to just feel a little bit, you know, to release a little of that steam. If they want to shout at the screen, that's right, whatever, let them shout, because that's the danger here. Because at some point, somebody might do something stupid. And Jeff and myself, the reason we do these videos mentioning civil war, and we do quite a few of them, and there's a reason for that. That's because we don't want it. And it has to be talked about. These are very, very, as I said, you've got something coming. You don't know what's coming. You don't know if that kicks off. If it does kick off, it's the last thing any of us want. And all of us, Jeff and myself, will be doing all we can to restore some kind of order. At the same time, there is things.
Why should we have to sit back and let people do this to us and not say a word in case someone gets a bit upset?
Yes.
They should see that we're upset and angry and react accordingly. That's the whole point. Anyway, I love this one from Eve Beaumont. When did politicians abandon a gentleman's handshake and start hugging? It's very unprofessional. Yes, absolutely. It should be a straightforward, good old-fashioned handshake. But it all started off, didn't it, in the pandemic? Wasn't it was it the elbow bump and all the rest of it?
No, I the way those two, with Macron and bloody Starmer they've been. I think there's more than a hand being shaken there. You know. Yeah.
Thank you for that input. Yes. Wonderful.
Toes I'm talking about, Jeff. Don't know what you're thinking about.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. The Tooting Popular Front, I think it was, wasn't it? The Tooting Popular Front from the comedy from years ago. Oh, yeah, that was really good. That was.
Hang on, what was that? Not with Wolfie, was it?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, yeah, Wolfie.
Citizen Smith. Citizen Smith
with the fur coat. Citizen Smith. Smith. Power of people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think we'd be in his little black book or red book or whatever it was that he used to, from the revolution. Yeah. You and I be in that right now, I think. Oh dear.
I think so. Yeah, I'm sure we would. Yeah. Max's gaming mashup says, I honestly think Starmer is a dimwit. Well, he's one of these smart idiots, I think, is the way to put it.
Yeah.
Very, very clever at all the wordy things in law, but not very good at working out the repercussions. I mean, the whole of the Labour front bench just can't work out the repercussions. And the prime example is Rachel Reeves. As soon as she touches something, I'm going to tax that because it looks good to tax, and then finds out there's another black hole, all of her own making. The latest one being that they've done a report that says that the number of non-doms that are probably going to leave the country is going to leave her a big black hole because they're going to take all the money with them, and the money they would have spent and paid VAT on and all that sort of thing is not going to be there, and it's going to lose jobs. And it's the whole reason we had all those things in place actually was for the benefit of the country overall in the grand scheme of things. But as we shut them down to try and be as fair as possible, people, and that means in Labour's case is taxing everybody who's solvent or above, and isn't it funny? Even in this meeting with Macron, he had to get for the workers in it, didn't he? We're doing this for the workers, and he still hasn't defined what a ruddy worker is.
Oh yeah. Anyone who's got savings isn't a worker, wasn't it?
No, if you've got savings,
you're not a worker. Yeah.
Only workers are people who don't have money saved up.
So he's not a worker. That's for sure.
Work for a living.
He's not a worker then. Yeah. Well, neither are you, Jeff. Well, I'm certainly not a worker in that case. Mind you, I think I got about £4.20 down the back of my sofa and with a load of fluff. Yeah, that's it. I'm not a worker. Yeah.
As someone says here, Lord Viking, any law that is common sense is out then? Absolutely. Yes, I think that's from one of the earlier things I was talking about. Yeah. There's so many comments, can't keep up with them. But yeah. And all of this
that was a good comment, actually. Any law that is common sense. Now, I've got to say, I totally agree with that. I don't care about this left-wing, right-wing nonsense. What works for the country? Any law that works, that's it. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you.
We're all just minding our business. We're just minding our own business, says JJ, on a little island when suddenly the boats came. Well, it's funny how they just suddenly turned up, isn't it? And worked out that we're so weak that we can't push them back, that we're so pathetic that we can't get a way together of pushing them back. Yes. There you go. So I'm just going through some of the, Charles the, I got that. Not the third, missing the H out, Charles the,
And thank you to iDopfler for your contribution there, for your super chat. Thank you.
Oh, I didn't miss that one.
It's gave a donation. Very generous. Thank you there.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you.
And this is, it needs discussing because it's coming. Yeah, I agree.
Yes, absolutely. That's why we do it.
If not talking about stuff worked, we wouldn't talk about the gender pay gap, would we? Because it would go away. We wouldn't chat about, child poverty. If we're not allowed to talk about this stuff, and so the problem will go away, let's not talk about the other things. Let's not talk about the rich getting richer and wealthier on the back of everyone else, because the problem will go away if we don't talk about it, won't it?
No, I think it's very important that we talk, and we have the right to talk in this country as well. Well, we should do. Apparently we don't. Lucy Connolly's
we should do.
God rest his soul, David Lynch. We shouldn't forget David Lynch. I know everyone mentions Lucy Connolly, and she's in a terrible situation.
Peter Lynch.
Yes, Peter Lynch. David Lynch. I'm thinking of the film director. Sorry. I'm still ill. I've still got this cold. Yeah. But yes, Peter Lynch.
So how long has that man flu been going?
For 4 weeks now. Well, I'm getting better.
And David Craig says they want the uprising, so they got the excuse to take us out. But
yes.
who is going to be doing that? we've got fewer coppers per thousand, fewer servicemen per thousand. Are they going to
True.
bring in the traffic wardens? And remember that the troops and the police officers they do have been wokeified. What? Think about it. I don't know. Would they have that impact?
What if 100,000 people in this country rose up hypothetically? Would the police be able to deal with that? That's the question.
What I'm saying is that the thought that they want to, the government wants something to kick off. You have to analyze it a bit and think, well, have they beefed up the police to a huge level like France? Have they beefed up a huge army like in China or
No,
Russia?
they haven't. But they haven't. No.
Well, they're not on a very firm footing then, are they? Just a thought.
No, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh dear. You need your vitamins, eat vegans. Right, okay.
Absolutely, yeah. I've already eaten 2 this morning. I got my 3rd coming now later.
Thank you for that. Yes.
Again,
Doctor says,
it's
good to talk, like they said in those old BT adverts. It's good to talk. Yes.
Yes. And you see, this is one of the things that people, I think, like coming here, Jeff, to be honest, and why we like coming here, is it is a bit like going back to the 1970s and 80s having a chat with us. You're going to get some values that you don't get these days. It's like, I have to admit, in the 90s, not in the early 2000s, but definitely in the 90s, I went through a bit of what you might call a woke phase, a bit lefty, just slightly. I sort of dipped my toe in, didn't last very long. But I found myself reverting back to the opinions and thoughts of my forefathers, and you have to remember, I grew up in the South Wales valleys, and things even though Labour was, and still does to a certain, well, and not until the next elections, Labour dominated the South Wales valleys, yet the values held by those people were, in today's terms, would be regarded as far right. This is how bad it's become. You can't believe in one thing. For instance, you can be socially and culturally conservative and economically and fiscally left-wing. I think that is not what the SDP are, to be honest with you. Something like that. But the SDP, the new SDP.
Now, this is a good point here. I never sort of thought about this. John Johnson says, Macron never faced any protests. Will Trump receive the same warm welcome? I think there will be protests against his turning up. It's funny how we sort of accept the French president, isn't it? Who's intent on bringing us under the control of a foreign power again, and who we've just handed over our nuclear deterrent to effectively, and who has taken our fishing grounds away from us again. But Trump, we give him a hard time just for slapping equal tariffs on everybody. I don't know. Make of it what you will.
Yeah. I think what the protests, though, in this country that take place are usually done by a very small, I can't say small minority, but just a very vocal minority, we'll say. That's what they do. They just go out and cause trouble. Yeah. And the irony is that the people on the right of centre don't cause that trouble. We don't do those things.
No.
Look at the United Kingdom rallies. They're glorious, peaceful rallies coming together, the British people. And yet, and that's what really wound me up and gripped my, whatever, I can't actually say it. What really gripped me was the last year, St. George's Day, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Where you had police, the police with horses and dogs. And, that was totally, for what? People just coming out and celebrating St. George. Are you kidding me? Part of this country's Christian heritage. And the police are out with bloody dogs and on horses. Get out of here. No.
Yeah, just those recent pro-Palestine action marches, that happened just before the organization was proscribed. Do you remember that? and they were getting a bit uppity with the police, weren't they? The police wore caps and their sort of soft patrol jackets.
Yeah.
If that had been far right, or someone they assumed was far right, the dogs and the horses, the tasers would be out, and everything, the
Full
whole lot
riot
would be
gear.
out.
Yeah. Full riot
Yeah,
gear.
troops. Yeah. So yeah, it is all still two-tier, whatever they say. Oh, look, we had to go at the pro-Palestine action mob. Yes, in a gentle way, is what I would say. Yeah.
John Davis, thank you again for your super chat. How many safe areas do these joke asylum go through? Yeah. Exactly. I mean, do we have a war with? Is France at war? And how many other countries that they go through are at war? So are they still asylum seekers at that point? Do they
Yes,
actually?
that's the problem.
They actually
That is
still
the
meet
problem.
they still meet the definition. Oh, crazy. The law doesn't.
The old laws still apply. Yeah,
Mm.
even though the EU is actually trying to upend all this, believe it or not, their new migration compact that they're agreeing between themselves sort of limits the ability of these newcomers to move about within the EU. They're meant to go to one country and sort it all out there, but in reality, as I understand it, the law is they can go to the safe country they want to go to and then claim asylum.
Yeah. And one comment here from Ed: Iran is moving to Christianity. Yes, it is. People don't realize. I think it's only something like 6% support the fundamentalist regime there, and you'll be surprised how many Iranians are not of that of the predominant faith there. I won't even name it. You know, and the fastest growing church in the world is in Iran. Think on that for a moment. And the danger is what happened in Iran could quite easily happen here. That's the problem. It wasn't a massive majority of a certain demographic of religion that caused this sweep to power. No, it was a hybrid. It was a bastardization, basically, of a movement that got taken over, and obviously the CIA then started plowing money into it to depose the Shah, and also you had the far left then joining in, and that's how Iran ended up with the most hideous revolution ever. One of the most beautiful countries in the world, with a fantastic culture that predates, incidentally, what happened there in the we'll call the invasion that took place there. You know, don't forget Freddie Mercury. You know, he was descended from Zoroastrians, which was the dominant religion in Iran at the time. Sorry, I had to go off on that one there.
Yeah. Jenny Pritchard says the cabinet offices runs this country. Check out Yes Minister. Oh yes, yeah. It's the senior civil service, the mandarins that run the country. The politicians are just there to rubber stamp. It's come out, hasn't it, during this handover to Labour this time, that when they said we're going to hand Chagos over and everyone got up in arms, they pointed out that was put together by the Tories years ago, and it was a plan that was going through to fruition anyway. I don't care what the Tories say, it would have happened under them. And there's a load of other stuff that's gone through. You don't suddenly just do something when you get into government. It all has to go through the machinations of the civil service first. And I reckon, you know, when Labour get thrown out, just say Nigel Farage is in Prime Minister and Reform UK, they'll have a devil's own job of trying to stop the stuff that's already in train going through and becoming law, or treaties that get made and get signed. You know, they can't just rip them up unless they change all the constitution and all and everything around it.
How would you change it? This is the problem. You can't do it via the ballot box, I'm afraid to say, because as soon as you get so something more fundamental has to change, and I believe it goes right to the top. I believe it's the king himself that needs to be changed. You know, I'm not saying we should have a coup or whatever, I'm not calling for that, but we need somebody to step forward and say, Your Majesty, it's time for a new royal family. I'm afraid yourself and your heirs, who also appear to be following the same lines, have also been turning up at the World Economic Forum meetings. It appears that they seem to be holding views that do not tally up with British sovereignty.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's not just the House of Commons anyway, as someone's pointed out. It's the House of Lords as well. And
Yes.
there's two sets of civil servants. There's the ones in Westminster and the ones in Whitehall. And it's become so complicated. They've written so many treaties that it just needs a complete clear out. It's almost like a reset that's needed, but not a King Charles III reset, not one of those resets.
Well, he's the one who
that
introduced the
benefits
great. Yeah.
us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's the one. King Charles is the one who introduced the Great Reset to the world. It wasn't Klaus Schwab.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was a great comment there. The Chagos Islands thing sounded like an episode of Yes Minister.
Yes,
It very much did.
it really did, didn't it?
Yeah. The whole thing is,
Yeah.
if the whole thing wasn't so serious, it'd be comical. I mean, we've lost control of Gibraltar now, pretty much, haven't we? As well. So
Yeah.
we've handed our
That's
army
going.
over. We've handed our
just
nuclear
wondering if
defense
there's-
system over. Okay.
I'm just wondering if there's a background thing going on between Britain and Argentina at the moment, and suddenly we wake up one day to joint sovereignty over the Falklands. I can see it coming. Because that's what Starmer does. That's what he and Hermer do. You know, that's the way they think. Everyone else must have a piece of our pie.
I
so
don't
I
think,
can go. You know,
I don't think people realise who voted for Starmer and voted Labour that they actually voted for a prime minister who hates Britain. Okay, he absolutely loathes and detests it. I mean, where did he go for his? What was it? Did he have a gap year, or he was off on some kind of excursion when he was a young man?
That's right. Yeah.
And he went to some sort of, was it Yugoslavian work camp or something? Because he was so far.
Yeah.
I mean, what? Oh yeah, that sounds great fun. That does. Never mind going, going hiking. No. You had to go to work camp or whatever. Good grief! Disneyland not good enough for you. You could have, you could have gone to Skegness. No.
Yes. I don't know what to make of it now. It's all my messages. Get involved in politics. Start finding out who your local councillors are. And that's really important, especially for next May. I mean, you all say, oh, what do I know about that for? It's the councillors that spend all your ready money. And right now, there's a plan going through Parliament to give mayors, the big councillors, as it were, tax-raising powers over you. So they can then raise local taxes to pay for things. They're the ones who spend all the money. Government allocates all your money to councils, then tells them how to spend it. To go off you go, spend it. And so you take a big interest in who your councillors are and what they're spending it on.
Yes, absolutely. We always forget our local councillors. As far as I'm concerned, with some of my beliefs, I'm such a libertarian. I believe that the council should be the extent of my government. There we go. The thing that people need to do right now, if you want to get politically active and involved, is, do you know what? Support Ben Habib's whatever it is. Okay, it's not quite a party at the moment. Advance UK. Yeah. You need to do that, and especially if you support reform, you should do it. Because if you want reform to be that political party which you want it to be, the only way to achieve that, because right now Farage is coming out and saying some stuff that are very left wing, and not very pleasant, to be honest with you. If you want him to have his feet held to the fire, the only person who's going to do that right now, I believe, is Ben Habib. And also, to a certain extent, the cultural movement with Tommy and, But we need
Rupert Lowe's got his own as well. Rupert Lowe is worth keeping an eye on, definitely.
Support him as well. Yeah. Support all the people. Support UKIP. Support who you want to. Whoever's going to throw but in particular, I think you should Ben Habib, support in Ben Habib, to be honest, because that's where the real pressure will come politically. I mean, Nick Ciancone's doing a brilliant job with what he's doing. It's not electable, though. It's never going to be electable. And that has to be realized. No, I'm sorry, as much as many of us would wish that, it's not going to happen. But what he serves a very different function, and a brilliant one. And he is probably the greatest activist in this country at the moment, I have to say.
Yeah.
And even Tommy came out and said that. So, yeah. or words to that effect.
Yes. Interesting times we live in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go, Jeff. So, ladies and gentlemen, I've got to make a move. And thank you all for watching. And please like this video. Press the like button. I know it sounds like a great effort to you, but it makes such a difference. I should have said this earlier. Look, it's just, if you're on your phone, you just go, where's that button? Like that. Easy, easy. And right by that like button, somewhere there's a subscribe button. Click that thing as well. Click it. Go on. And when you do that, there's an all option. You go, oh, I get an all option. That's right. Then you'll know when we put out a new video. Click that. Life will be wonderful. And Jeff, as I said yesterday, he blooms when you press the subscribe button. He glows. Honestly, you've never seen anything like it.
Yes. Right. And on that note, I'll say that it's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from him. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching. Goodbye.
Goodbye.